Welcome to Basic Brewing Video. I'm James Spencer.
I'm Steve Wilkes.
We hope that you are well and that you are safe in these crazy times. Today is going to be a weird one. I don't know. I hope it won't taste
That's
weird.
saying something.
For us. I hope it won't taste weird, but the process, I shouldn't say weird. It's different from what we are used to. It is a traditional Lithuanian farmhouse beer, but it is done in a way using the oven to bring some flavor and some caramelization to the beer. And I got this from, I interviewed Lars Marius Garschol on Basic Brewing Radio, and he's the author of the book Historical Brewing Techniques, The Lost Art of Farmhouse Brewing, which is a great book. Lots in it, other than, in addition to this, this beer. The style, I even hesitate to call it a style, is Keptinis. And traditionally what they do is they do a very thick mash, and so they convert the sugars in the mash, then they take that mash, they put it into pans, and they put it into a hot oven, and so they turn this mash that's made with a light colored grain into this caramely, dark substance, and then they take, and while that's happening, they boil hops in water to get a hop tea. And then after they caramelize those sugars in that grain, they take the mash back out of the oven, they put it into a lauter tun, and then they lauter it with water and add this hop tea at that time, and then they don't boil, and they cool it down and they add yeast and then they ferment it. So that's I think that's how the traditional technique goes. Check out Lars Marius's blog. It's called Lars Blog, and he has more details on how he did it. And he did a more traditional approach than what I am doing. And of course, I can't leave anything alone. I can't follow the traditional route. So I wanted to see if you could do a brew in a bag version of a Keptinis. I started off with 5 quarts, or about 5 liters of water at 163 degrees Fahrenheit, or 73 C. And to that, I added 2 pounds, or 900 grams of Pilsner malt. And I mashed that at 154 degrees Fahrenheit, or 67.8 C, for 1 hour. Now, here's where it gets different. I took out the bag and I collected the spent grain out of the mash, and I put that into a bread pan that was lined with aluminum foil. And I put that in the oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit, or 190 C, for 3 hours. In the meantime, I took the wort that I collected, and instead of doing a hop tea, I just went ahead and put the hops. I put 4 grams of East Kent Golding in there, 5.3% alpha acid, for 30 minutes. And at the end of that 30 minutes, I chilled it in an ice bath to stop the isomerization. So, meanwhile, back in the oven, at the end of that 3 hours, the top was really caramelized and looking kind of burny. But then you scraped off the top of it, and the inside wasn't as caramelized. So I took that and I put that grain back into the wort, into the kettle. And then to make sure that I got those caramelized sugars off, I heated the mixture again to 163 degrees Fahrenheit, or 73 C, stirring constantly. Then I chilled that to pitching temperature and transferred that to a sanitized kettle with a sanitized brew in a bag, collected the wort from that, transferred that to the fermenter, and pitched Safale US-05. I should have added more water at the beginning of the process. I could have added water to top up at the end of the process. I got enough for 5 beers. Starting gravity was 1076, final gravity 1016, for an ABV of 8%. Now, what Lars Marius does, his beers look like a porter or a stout. It's that color of wort. So with my method, I haven't tasted this since a bottle, so this is interesting. I got the basic brewing bottle opener here. Now,
And how did you carb it with just a carb tab? Whoa, hello, Dolly. A carb tab?
with a carbonation drop, yeah.
Okay.
So
Well, it's got a nice head. It's very pretty.
So what we've
Mine's
got
kind of-
here is something that looks more like, say, an amber ale, would you say? Mm-hmm. It's kind of a
Yep.
golden, it's a honey color. So that's just from Pilsner malt. So
It's really pretty.
cheers, Steve.
Yeah, it looks like a Vienna. Looks like Vienna malt. It's very pretty.
Ooh, smells good.
That's really good. That's really good.
Now it's not as caramelized as the traditional method because I think, I rinsed most of the sugar out of the grain before I put it in the oven. I think traditionally, when you put the whole mash in the oven, you have a lot more sugar, and so therefore you get a lot more caramelization.
Right.
This
right.
has a honey character. To me, it tastes like honey, like a honey ale.
It does. It does. Wow, I'm really blown away by this. It tastes. It tastes new to me. It's a flavor. It's a beer I've never had before, and
Yeah.
that's saying something these days. I mean, I've had a lot of beers, a lot of times, and a lot of beers once or twice. You know what I mean? I don't even know what that means, but yeah.
Wow.
This is a new beer.
I'm
to
glad.
me, and
I'm glad I didn't top it up in the fermenter. I could have topped it up in the
Me too.
fermenter to get one more beer, but it wouldn't have been as big as this is. I mean, the finishing gravity on this is 1016, so there's a lot of residual sugars left.
that's delicious.
But it's not too sweet. It's not gloppy. It's not
No.
syrupy.
It finishes not. It has a nice finish. It's a long finish, but it's not. It's not sweet. It's not gloppy. It's not. It's not a dessert. It's something that I could drink a pint of. I'm not sure I could drink more than 2 pints of. I think I'd be crawling under the table. but it is one that you could crush 1 or 2 of these pretty quick,
Yeah.
and then you might be not able to drive.
Yeah. Well.
But it's 8%,
one, I
and
think.
yeah. But and I like the hop carry. I like the amount of hops in it. It's not about hops. It's about the malt. To me.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
And the malt character, and I get that nice caramel flavor that it kind of reminds me of like a Mrs. Werther's, those little hard Mrs. Werther's.
Like a Brock's.
They're not real heavy.
Yeah, like a Brock's caramel from
Yeah.
the grocery store. You'd reach in and grab a handful.
Yeah. Oh man, that's a really nice technique.
It's hard to imagine that is Pilsner malt.
It is. I would never, ever have thought that.
So it's not.
It's just so cool that if you think creatively about how to play around with your malt, wow! I mean, you can. What a great technique!
Yeah.
I mean, if you're at home and you got like, I really want to do this little bit sweeter beer, and you got's 10 pounds of pale or 10 pounds of Pilsner or whatever, but you could do this. This is so cool. I think this is a really cool technique.
Now we've
Wow.
in the past. Oh, it touched my face. Now in the past we've done homemade caramel malt with using Marisata. I think is what I used. So I steeped it and then put it in the oven. So it's a similar technique kind of. Although this is using the whole mash. Now I put it in a bread pan, just a traditional shaped bread pan. I'm just wondering if I spread it out thinner, and with
that's what I would do.
with a small batch like this, you could do that. Spread it out
Yeah.
thinner, and that way more of the grain gets caramelized, and you get more of this caramel character.
It would even be fun to do it keep in mind we're hobbyists, so you wouldn't do this commercially. But it would be fun to do this with 2 or 3 pounds of any beer. Do the technique where you do this, and then add that back into a more full, more complete recipe where the rest of it's brewed traditionally or brewed normally.
Right.
And then so I think it's a lot of possibilities for this.
Yeah.
Just for finding new ways to find different flavors and new flavors because really the flavor I'm getting out of this beer is almost a cinnamon. Almost, it has kind of like a, I know it, I got it. Remember Life cereal?
Yeah. Hey, Mikey.
Remember Life cereal? Yeah, hey, Mikey, get Mikey to drink it. He'll drink anything. I'm telling you, Mikey will drink this and like it.
What's that? Some cereal supposed to be good for you.
Hey, Mikey.
Let's get Mikey. He won't eat it. He hates everything. He likes it. Hi, Mikey. Whoa. I can't remember, trigonometry, but I can remember commercials from the 70s.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, this is really good. It's
good job.
It is. It's a sweet grain. I guess the Life cereal is a sweet grain. So I can see where you're going there.
It's sweet. It's got a little bit of I get a little bit of a cinnamon twang out of this somehow. That's my palate. But just the caramel notes. It's really good. I think you could share this at a party and be very proud of it.
Oh, well, thank you, sir.
Really and truly. And it's a lot of work. I mean, it was a lot of effort to make those 5 beers, to be sure. Yeah. But that's part of the hobby. Once in a while, you want to, again, to preach about our hobby, once in a while you want to knock out a beer and you just want to knock it out because you want something to drink, something in the keg, something to bottle, take to the cookout. Sometimes you want to play around and do something really esoteric and that you've never done before and you want to get some new flavor and you're just in the mood to experiment. This is a good experiment, for sure.
Well, again, cheers to Lars Mario Skarshol for the inspiration. There's a phone. They'll call back. Thanks to Lars Mario Skarshol for the inspiration. Get the book, Historical Brewing Techniques, The Lost Art of Farmhouse Brewing. And listen to that episode on Basic Brewing Radio, because we talked about brewing this beer. And so if you want to get the more traditional way of brewing the beer, listen to that. Anyway, stay safe and stay well, everybody. Play with your beer. Have some fun. Happy brewing.
Have some fun.
Come and visit us online. At basicbrewing.com, you can find archive lists of our audio and video podcasts on home brewing. You can also find our DVDs and our Brewer's Logbook, where you can track and log up to 50 batches of beer. If you're in Fayetteville, Arkansas, stop by Steve's Brew Shop or find him online at stevesbrewshop.com.
Don't cover your face with the product. That's one of the first rules of broadcast.
What's the second rule of broadcast?
We'll do it live. We'll do it live.